Hi and welcome back to the second part of exercise 1 in triangulation. Okay, so starting where we left off, we've developed the front panel. It sits up there, upper right hand side of our drawing, and that is this panel, the bottom section of the plan view, or this front section that we can look at looking at the front view. So the next thing to do is actually to develop the panel that sits up to the halfway point on this line down to the halfway point on the large baseline. Now, we generally do these things in two. We have half patterns. Just because of the folding difficulties, it would be to try to fold something up that had all four sides attached. So we need to measure these two here. I mean, instantly you can say this is a 1 by 1 square, so you know that thing is about a ½ inch up. But we're going to go through the way that we normally do it, which is if we don't know the size of the square or it is a weird size, we just go from the corner to the midpoint. So just going over to get a circle, I'm going to place that circle from that top corner to the midpoint on this line. Now it doesn't automatically select it, so I could either go up to the midpoint snap or just type MID and enter, and you'll see the little green triangle appear there, and I'm just going to left click anywhere near the line and it will snap to its midpoint. I can do the same thing with another circle, this time on the base, and again type MID and then enter, and you'll get the green triangle come up. Click again and it will snap it to the midpoint. Now these are flat to view. That's the base, which you can just see straight along that edge there, and the top, which you can see straight along that corner at the top there. These are these two lines. So we can move these things straight onto the pattern, as I said earlier. Now the top one will go to the top, and the one from the base will go to the bottom. So I'm just going to grab a copy command, left click the small circle, right click to say that's it, and then click at its base point and place it on the top. Then enter the command. I can just go back to copy, click the larger circle, right click, pick it up by its center point, and that one goes to the base. Right click and enter. So now that we know that the edges are going to be somewhere around these two circles, what we need to do is to triangulate. Now to triangulate the base one first, what we'd be looking at is to make a triangle with the two existing edges. That's these two corners, the top right and the bottom right, which are here on this plan, the top right and the bottom right. So if I've already got that large circle on, the one that I need to make a triangle to triangulate is this bottom corner here on the smaller square. So I'm going to change my color to a nice light blue, and I'm going to go back and grab a circle. I'm going to go from this corner, stretch it out to that point there, which is the halfway point. And you'll see that the radius of this and the radius from the white circle will give me that point of intersection between the blue and the white. So now I'm going to hit the copy command, pick up the circle like we had before by its center point. Just make sure we get the right one. There it is by its center point, and place it at the base point so that I can measure along the baseline. So it's the plan length versus the true height. So I grab a line, a polyline, going from the top down to the point at which that circle intersects the baseline. That is the true length of that edge, or that line between the lower right hand point of the square and the midpoint of the baseline. So now I need to left click the circle. Using that top point, I'm going to stretch out a circle where it reaches the end of that line, and now copy, because we're going from the top right hand side to the base. I've got to place it right there, top right hand side of our developed pattern. So copy the big blue circle from its center point to that top corner. Now we have the intersection between the light blue and the white, so we could draw a line from there up to this one. But whilst we're at it, why not just develop that last line? That's a line between the lower right hand corner here and that point of intersection. We've already got that one. Now we want the one coming from the bottom. So let me open up the colors, go down to magenta, grab a circle and go from that bottom right hand corner up to that point of intersection. So you can see that that one now intersects right at that midpoint. So now I can copy that circle from the center to the base point. I can draw my line indicating the true length from the true height out to that developed base point. Last thing, make another circle from the end of that now magenta line out to the point at which it intersects the baseline. So there is our big magenta circle. We need to place that one on the base because we started this circle out on the bottom right hand side and we went up to that midpoint. So we're going to place it on the bottom there and go up to the midpoint wherever it's projected to be. So now we need to copy the large magenta circle from the end of the line or the center, and we're going to place it on this bottom corner. Okay, now we have all the intersection points. We have the magenta and the white. We have the blue and the white. So now I can change my line back to white by going to Bilayer, come up to Polyline, and from the top corner go to the first point of intersection, down to the second point of intersection, and finish it off by going back to the base of the projected side. Now that we've got this one done, what I'm going to do is to get rid of the circles and the lines on this development so that you can just see the pattern, and I'm going to mirror this side of the pattern over to the other side because, as I said before, this is a symmetrical square to square. So what it's going to be developed one side will be exactly the same as the other side. There's no point in working it all out twice. So I'm going to Layer again, Layer Properties Manager. I'm going to hit New Layer. It's going to give me one called Layer 2. There it is. Then I'm coming up to this top bar. Now that I've got Layer 2 on there, I'm just going to close it down. I'm going to check on the layer bar, and sure enough, there's Layer 2. You can see that it's currently off, so I'll get a warning when I try to turn it off. But now I'm going to go to each of these circles and lines, white ones included, and select each one in turn so that I turn all of these off. Okay, just a few more to go, and the white one at the top. Don't highlight these lines here, those are the ones we just developed. So right click, like before, go down to Properties and left click. Now where it says Layer and there's a 0, click by the side of the 0. You'll find that it's actually a bar. There's a downward arrow, so we left click it, and we turn them onto Layer 2, so we left click Layer 2, and here is the warning that I told you about. It will say that you've moved it to a frozen layer. That's fine because we wanted to turn them off. I can see I left one bar there, but I'll just close that warning, and then I'll just left click that one, come up to the side and pop that one onto layer 2 as well. I'll get another warning, just close it down. And then we can go up to the left hand corner and close the properties bar down. Okay, now we're nearly done. All we need to do, because as I said this is symmetrical, is to mirror this across our last projection across to the left hand side, and we will be done. Our pattern will be finished. So the mirror commands, third option down on the modify menu. So we left click mirror. It asked us to select objects, so we just left click the shape that we just drew, right click, and then we got to go to the midpoint command or type in mid, and then you can get the little triangle that goes on the top, and then midpoint command again, and go to the base so that we mirror across the center point basically, and left click. And then it'll ask you, do you want to erase the source objects? No, we don't, and that is an option as default, so we just hit the enter key and our pattern is complete.